Joining me now, we have two survivors with us. And I'd really like to thank you both for being not only with me today, but thank you for being here. Thank you for coming and sharing your stories with the participants. I think it's so critical. I am going to introduce you. We have Anita Caro, who was originally from what was then Poland, today's Ukraine. And we also have Rosette Adler Goldstein, who was a hidden child in France, but I'd like to have you share your stories. Tell us where you were born and how you survived.
I was born in Lvov in 1938. We were taken to the ghetto. The ghetto in Lvov was a horrible place.
How old were you when you moved to the ghetto?
I was 3 years old.
Unbelievable.
And I had two sisters. One was newly born and one was 2 years older. The ghetto of Lvov was a place that had 150 souls, Jews interned. The ghetto of Lvov was a place where it was easier to die than to live. From the 150,000 inmates, only 200 survived, and I am one of them.
I'm so glad. And Rosetta, would you tell us your story, Rosette, briefly?
I was born in Paris, France, in 1938. My parents were originally from Poland, from Lodz, and my father had been thrown out of the French army. Why? Because he was a Jew, and he enlisted in a camp in France for working for the French and German interests. And he saw what was happening, and he met a farmer. His name was Monsieur Martin, and he said to him, I have a 4-year-old daughter. You know what's happening. Would you hide her? And Monsieur Martin said, I don't know, I have to ask my wife. It's very dangerous.
And at the risk of their own lives.
I'm sorry?
At the risk of their own lives.
Yes. And the next day, he came back and he said, I spoke to my wife. We have 3 daughters. We're going to have 4. And this is how I came to live with them.
Oh, my goodness. Can you tell me, why is it important for you to be here today? And both of you are traveling here today from the United States, from the state of Florida. Why is it important for you to be here today?
It is very important for us to be here so we can tell our story, because through education and looking back to the past, we can prevent the future to bring us unhappiness again. My mother was a very courageous woman who saved 3 children together. We escaped from the ghetto of Lvov and passed ourselves as Catholics. And I became a very fervent Catholic girl for about 2 years of my life. And it was even very difficult to go back to Judaism after the war. But I did, and today I have 2 children, a son and a daughter, and I have 6 grandchildren. And soon I will be a great-grandmother.
Mazal tov.
Toda rava.
And Ms. Carol?
I have been on 7 marches of the living.
I'm sorry, Rosette. Sorry.
I feel it is so important for young people to hear us. We're in the winter of our lives. We're not going to be here much longer. And these children have to tell our stories, especially with the way things are going today. I'm very afraid. We've all of us have seen some of the things that are happening today, and we are frightened.
I just spoke to both U.S. ambassadors about the rising level of anti-Semitism, and no level is acceptable, and if enough is being done to combat that. But I'm also so terribly worried about the day when we can't hear voices from people who experience these things, that something will be lost. I hope that your descendants We'll learn from you. Is it hard for you to share your stories with your grandchildren, your children?
It is hard, but they listen, and they listen. And then we have opportunities, I'm sure, Rosette and I, to lecture at the schools and children that are younger, and they listen, and I hope they will learn.
I very much hope so. I need to let you go now to the ceremony. So, Rosette Adler-Goldstein,
Yes.
Anita Caro, thank you again very much for being with us today.
And thank you for
thank
letting
you.
us be here and being able to convey how we feel.
It's my
Thank
honor.
you.
It's all of our honor.
Thank you so much.